Hey, I'm back. Sorry it's been so long. Weather has been atrocious in the UK for ages. We've only done 2 teaching days since Christmas, since before Christmas actually. But anyway, we're back. Today's weather is looking fantastic, fingers crossed. It might be a little bit windy on top for a couple of the students, but it's sort of my day off today, so we're going up to finish one student off because he goes, I think, to Argentina tomorrow. So we're going to work to get him through it today. He's only going to do speed bar and big ears and top landings and a bit more ridge soaring. And there's another student coming to collect his glider, his brand new toy, his brand new Niviuk Coyote 5 off us. He's coming. I've told him it's probably going to be a bit windy, but we'll see what happens. So this video is going to be on how to choose, not so much choose, but how to adjust your landing to land at the bottom of the landing field, to manage your approach to get into the landing field where you want. So we're having quite a few people messaging us saying, I'm having trouble to get into the landing field. I either fall short or I overshoot or I'm off to the side. So we're going to try and do a video today. We're going to show you the landing field and we'll show you how we get into the landing field. So I don't know what I'm going to call it. Choosing a landing field, judging your landing approaches. But anyway, that's what we're doing. I hope you enjoy. Cheers, guys. Okay, guys, so we're on the hill and we're going to do the first flight down now to show you how to choose where we want to land. So Sian is just over there, if you can see her. So I'm going to wait for her to fly down and she can then video me coming in to land. So we've got a couple of cameras to try and catch what we're doing for you. So the landing zone is, I'll just turn the camera around. So what we want to do is we want to land, you can just see the pilot down the bottom walking up and you can see a trench. We want to land just the other side of that trench, right in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch, Sian's going to launch from there. And she'll go off and she'll stay within the vicinity of where she wants to land. Now the wind is coming slightly, very slightly off the hill. It's coming slightly from the right, which means when we come in for our landing approach, we want to come from the left. We want to come from this side because we're crabbing into the wind then. We don't want to be coming low down for the landing from right to left because the wind is coming slightly off the hill. I'll explain that more back at the barn on some paper, but the wind is slightly off. So she'll launch and she'll go down this way from the field and she'll land this way into the wind. But because there's a breeze, you don't want to fly too far downwind because when you turn into wind to come back to there, you won't reach. You've always got to stay within the vicinity of where you want to land. So what we'll do is when I go off, Sian will be down there, I'm going to go off and I'm just going to wander around here-ish, do my zigzags, do my sort of my S-turns, losing altitude and keeping an eye right where I want to touch down before I do the run in. And when you do your run in for the final landing, you don't want to be doing that run in at sort of 5-10 foot and doing any more turns. When you get down to sort of 10 or 15, 20 foot, you should be flying level. All the setup should be done. So the final run in, there'll be no turns. It's just a straight run in. If you hit a bit of lift, obviously we can do a small little bit of a left and a right, but you should not do tight turns when you're low down. So let's watch Sian. Okay, Sian. So you can see the angle that she's launching from, look. The wind is about 5 degrees off the hill. So she's having to run slightly across. This glider's the new Niviuk Code P. Typical, she's hit a thermal. Okay, so she's about to pass the landing field now, look. She knows where she wants to land. She's already, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but she's already looking right. She's looked at her landing zone. Now you don't want to go too far downwind here, because when she turns into wind, the wind will stop her from getting back to her landing zone. It looks like she's gone a long way to me, but she's actually still quite high. So here goes, look, she's turned now. She's actually into wind there. That's into wind. But she's high for the landing, so she possibly might do some extended leg. There you go. So she's come a little bit right to lose altitude. She's lost about 10 or 15 foot, and she's doing a left one. So she's doing slight, small S-turns, look. There you go, she's running off to the left. And now she's coming right for the final touchdown. No turns now. Straight, standing up, and a big flare. Like that. So I'm going to try and land just slightly past her in the middle. Here we go. Okay, so we want to land there. The wind is slightly off, so I'm going to run off slightly to the left, this way, but I'm keeping on looking at my landing zone. I'm going to keep my eyes on the landing zone. Got to judge how far to fly this way. See, I'm still high. Still high. Here we go, so I'm going to turn now, but I'm really high, look. Way too high, I'll overshoot, so I'm going to run off to the right. And this is called S-turning. So I'm just doing this to lose altitude. Typically, I'm going up. Hit loads of lift again now. Here we go, and now I'm going to go left. So I'm just doing my S-turns before I go in for the final landing. But I know I'll reach because I'm staying in the vicinity of the landing. I'm going up again. Doesn't matter that I'm hitting thermals, because I'm just going to stay here doing left and rights. And now I've lost a bit of height again, look. But I am going up again. So I'm going to do another one. So let's go left again now. Here we go, look, I've lost a lot of height now. So now I'm really keeping my eyes on my landing zone. One more small one, no tight turns now. Stand up early. Stand up early. And now I could just do little dinky ones if I need them. No more tight turns. Do not turn tight. Arms up. Loads of speed. Loads of speed. Loads of speed. And then flare. Hold it on. Hold it on. Just like that. Best hobby in the world. Absolutely mega hobby. Hey, good news. Here comes Shani. I can just see her about to launch. I think she's about to launch. Here she comes. And she's off. Okay, so let's watch her landing setup. It's the most exhilarating sport, guys. If you haven't already took it up, honestly, take it up. It is fabulous. Look, there's a bird of prey just going right above a wing now, look. Anyway, look, she's done the same approach as me. She's going off slightly downwind of where she wants to land. She won't go silly far. She'll probably start, oh, she's hit lift now, look, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that she's hit lift because she'll put some S-turns in. If she was to come towards me now, she'd go miles past the field, but she's really high. So what she'll do in a minute, she'll turn to her right, our left, and she'll head off this way slightly, like she's doing now, look. So she's fairly close and she's high. So now, in a minute, she'll stand up. She's just going to do some small left and rights now to lose altitude. She's looking at me. She's got her eyes where she wants to land. She's hit lift again. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you've hit lift. She's going to make it by doing S-turns. There you go. Off to her right, our left. And now here we go. No tight turns now. Small S-turns, if anything, now. There you go, her arms have gone up, look. Loads of speed now. Stand up. There you go. And then lots of speed, and then here comes the flare. Perfection. I'm glad you didn't mess that up for YouTube.
Oh God, me too.
Well done.
You taught me well.
All right guys, so there's not really a great deal more I can tell you about that for landing at the bottom of the hill. What I will do is, when we go back to the man cave later on, we're going to do a bit more flying because there's a few pilots here, there's a few students with us today, and also there's a few ex-students that I'm fly guiding today. So we'll do a bit more of that because it's a beautiful day, finally. And then when I get back to the man cave, I'm going to do one of those little drawings that I do that people seem to like, and I'll just re-go over what we're doing here. So it works for any landing field anywhere in the world. So we'll just do a bit of a debrief on how to choose the landing field on paper, on a drawing, and then I hope it really works for you. Cheers guys, and don't forget, we've already got loads of people coming from all around the world, America, Netherlands, France, Germany, Austria, blah. We'll teach any of you, so if you want to come and do lessons with us, me and Sean, just send Sean an email. You'll get that through our website, and yeah, come on over and learn with us. We've got a fantastic campsite in Bishop's Castle called Foxholes, and we've got the Castle Hotel. We've got the Poppy House. We've got some really great bed and breakfasts. So if you're watching this and you do want to come over and either have lessons as a beginner, or you're already a pilot that wants some fly guiding, get better at ground handling, thermaling, launching, landing, whatever, come and see us and we'll help you out. We don't care where you're from. Cheers guys. Bye. Okay, so I hope that sort of give you an idea of how to judge where you want to land at the bottom of a hill. So yeah, when you spot your landing zone, it's important not to fly too far downwind or crosswind away from where you want to land. If you've made your mind up you want to land at the bottom and you've picked your landing field, you want to stay in the vicinity of the landing area at the bottom. So it's important to pick your spot before you launch, or while you're flying you need to know where the wind, remember where the wind direction is. So when you get down in the landing field, you know which way to land, what direction to land in. You need to make all these plans before it's too late. So stay in the vicinity of the landing area, choose your slightly above the field. You want to be in the field but slightly on the downwind edge of the field, where you can do your S-turns. You're going to do your little S-turns up and down nice and calm while you've still got the altitude, staring at your landing zone, staring at the spot. And then when you get down to say 20-30 feet, 10-20 meters, you should be fairly lined up for your landing, standing up, arms up with plenty of speed. Now if you hit any lift on the way in, you can do those small little snaky turns like I just did, but don't do any sharp tight turns when you're low down. You need to set up with your S-turns high up, and then as you get lower to the ground they just turn into small S-turns. Arms up, loads of speed, stand up, and then a nice smooth flare. The flare needs to be coming on, all the way on, right the way down. This is in light wind. If there's lots of wind, it's a very small amount of brake pressure. It's a small flare. But if you're landing at the bottom and there's not a lot of wind, you tend to come in with lots of speed and then a smooth, deep, everything flare. Okay, so we're standing up on the hill there, about to take off, and this is the ridge here and here. Wind is coming straight on us like that. Hopefully that makes sense so far. So we're going to take off and we want to land down here in this field. Okay, so if the wind is blowing on the hill, so you're taking off into the wind off the hill, when you get down here it's the same direction. So you need to remember that when you're flying down and you're getting low for your landing, you need to be flying into the wind for your landing. Sounds obvious, but it's not if you're a beginner. So the wind is blowing on the hill. You're flying up and down the ridge soaring. You're getting lower and lower. You want to land in the landing field. Sort of tell your brain, well, I know where the wind's coming from. It's coming from here. So when you get down low, you must land into the wind, not crosswind. Don't turn and come downwind, into wind. So that's a good start. So anyway, we want to land here, and we're getting, oh, no, I was about to say we're getting low. We're not getting low. We've took off and we want to land down there. We know which way the wind's coming. We know what direction we're going to land in. Happy days. So what I would do is, rather than take off and wander off right over here, or wander off right over here, and then you get low and you can't reach, I would stay in the vicinity of where we want to land. So even if you're at 5,000 feet, all you've got to do is meander up and down, S-turning. If you're that high, 360, and just lose your altitude, but in the vicinity of where you want to land. And then as you get lower down, just downwind, so just downwind of the threshold where you're going to land, you do your left and right figure of 8 stroke S turn. So you'll go along, out, 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 and just keep doing this pattern, these figure of 8 patterns. And every time you do this, you'll be losing altitude. When you get down low to your landing field now, because you're not too far from it, you know you're going to reach it. So then when you get down to maybe 10 meters, 20 meters, you'll start your approach. Now on your approach, if you're a little bit high or you hit any lift, it doesn't matter, because all you need to do are some small S-turns on the approach like that. No tight turns anymore. You've done all your big S-turns high up. Now we're getting low. So on your approach now, you just do some small S-turns as you're approaching the touchdown spot. And then just as you're approaching the field here, you should be standing up, arms up, so the glider's flying nice and quick. And then as you approach your X marks the spot where you want to land, nice, deep, smooth, gradual flare with the brakes. And that's it. It's quite simple. But what people do is they land out here, 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 and here, and everywhere, because they wander too far away from their chosen landing field. You've got to stay within the vicinity of your landing field. What a friggin' fantastic day. We've had such a good day with the students today. Dan passed the course. John did his first high flight. And we got to show you how to land in the landing field where you want. So as you saw, with myself and Sean, we did our S turns, our big figure of 8 turns high up. And then as we got lower and we knew we were going to reach the landing zone, we'd fly in with our arms up nice and fast. And if we hit any lift, we could do some very small snaky turns just to bleed off a bit more height, and then that deep flare for the touchdown. So I hope that helps. I hope you've enjoyed it, and the weather looks good for next week. It's a long way off yet, but it does look quite good for next week. So if it is, I've got a new wing coming, so I'll probably do a flight video on the new wing. Thanks again for subscribing, and see you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.